the intensifying competition for dominance in semiconductor manufacturing sector underscores a race among major economies worldwide. This booming market ranks among the fastest growing sectors globally, fueled by the expansion of artificial intelligence, but also electric vehicles. The US, China, Taiwan and Japan are poised to capitalize on the chip market. And here's a breakdown. The semiconductor market is expected to grow by 13.1% in 2024, reaching a record of $588.36 billion. This projection is revised upward from the previous estimate of 11.8% by the World Semiconductor Trade Statistics. Now, memory chips are anticipated to spearhead overall market growth in 2024, with billings set to surge by 44.8%. Predicted growth rates include 9.6% for logic chips and 1.7% for image sensor chips. The Americas are forecasted to experience the most substantial growth in 2024, with an expected increase of 22.3%, while Asia-Pacific market is predicted to grow by 12%, propelled by smartphone and PC production. Now, conversely, the Japanese market is expected to see modest growth of 4.4% due to lower demand for memory chips. Demand recovery is attributed to the adoption of generative AI and improved sales of PCs and smartphones. Major players such as Intel, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, Nvidia, and Samsung Electronics project positive revenue trends. And now let's bring in Malcolm Penn. He is the founder and chairman at Future Horizons, and he joins us now from London. Thank you very much for being with us. So, how important is this sector when it comes to growth, but also its impact on the stock markets? And what do you think will happen in the near future?
Yes, well, good morning. Memory is always been a very important sector of the semiconductor industry. It typically accounts for between a quarter and a third of the total overall sales. So what happens in memory affects the overall market. And it's been in a down cycle for the last 2 years. So it's now on that up cycle there. The recovery is very, very strong. And it is the driving force behind the recovery that we're seeing overall. Because the other IC sector and the discretes and all those other parts of the semiconductor market are really only growing in low single digits. So we are seeing a memory-led recovery, which is typical of the cycle in the sector. Memories are always first into the downturn and first into the upturn. So we're now seeing this strong surge in memory, which is very important to the overall economy, but is also very important to the market itself.
When it comes to the memory sector, as you point out, what can you say about the competition and the chip war, some analysts would say, between China and Taiwan and the US?
Yes, well, I think China's always been in a catch-up mode in terms of when it comes to technology, and that's quite normal. When new regions enter the semiconductor market, it's a long time to catch up to get to the very forefront. And China kind of got to within 2 or 3 nodes at the leading edge. But then that started to worry the rest of the world, particularly China's aspirations regarding Taiwan. It considers it to be the 23rd province of China. So that led the rest of the world to try to wonder what could be done to kind of stall China's entry into the high end of the market, hence all the current restrictions that have been in place led by America. So I think there is this move to try to push China back, to slow it down. Very hard to push it back completely because eventually it will get there. But they want to just make sure they put enough potholes in the road to slow it down and to keep that lead with TSMC in particular, which the whole world depends upon. So that's a very important part of the overall industry.
Right, and considering TSMC, as you rightly point out, wouldn't China and Taiwan be able to have the upper hand in the near future in this sector, and not really because of the US's dominance in the chip sector?
Correct. That's very true.
Right. A question on Japan. We saw modest growth of 4.4%. Why? And how can Japan maintain its competitiveness?
Yes, well, Japan in the 1980s, late 1980s, was everybody with the world feared because they were steaming ahead in technology, steaming ahead in manufacturing, and really were a force to be reckoned with. But since that, they've kind of gone off the boil, and they've gone from having 28% of the total market for semiconductors down to just 8% today. So they've lost a lot of their OEM industry, which was the market for semiconductors, and they've fallen back behind in technology. They're making a very brave effort right now to catch up that. And they certainly are doing very well. They're trying to do that. They've got some very good investment projects going on. But that's not going to happen overnight. It takes at least 10 years before you can really move the dial on something as radical as this. But they're certainly trying to catch up in technology. And I've no doubt they can, because they are a huge factor in the equipment industry, huge factor in the materials industry. So they have the pieces in place, if they set their mind to it, to recapture that gap.
Very interesting, Malcolm Penn. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.